Are you ready? You think you can tell us what to do? You think you can tell us what to wear? You think that you're better? Well, you better get ready. Bow to the masters. Bring the world
Welcome in to the most electrifying hour on a Sunday night anywhere, especially here, 216. This is Let Me Tell You Something, brother. We've got Tom, we've got Alex. Hey, we've got Wrestlemania recap. We've got, if you notice the table, we only have one in there, just the way that it is. Still, your undisputed heavyweight tag team champions of the world. Wasn't even close, those guys. They missed a move, and I don't even know what happened. You guys crushed them by over 30 points. It was amazing.
And that's the thing right now. It's seeing how TKO is taking over. It's predictable.
Yeah.
To a T.
There you go.
For the most part.
I mean, there's
well,
a few.
Well, for you guys, obviously. Let's be honest.
Well, they had like the one shocker was Gunther.
Correct.
Like that one for me was like that made no sense for Sammy to win it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And it was just like what 666 days was the reign,
which I thought was very interesting time to stop at. If I would have known that, I would have just picked that just to be the cynical in me. Just the time, the number just worked.
Yeah, I think the world is tired of hearing about how Brett got screwed. Now it's maybe how Gunther got screwed. But you know, hey, there it is.
Less
folks.
than 3 minutes in the show.
Less than 3 minutes in, we bring up this.
All right, Ken. I'm not finding us at all on Facebook right now.
No, because remember we're in jail.
Oh, we're in jail.
Yeah, go to Uncle Pete. It looks like whoever might have been in here yesterday violated something and put us in a 48-hour timeout.
Oh.
Again. So even if they would have won,
they did it
because they can't win the titles. I mean, they gotta put us in Facebook jail so they can,
So what are we streaming on
today? We're out there on YouTube.
Oh, we're on YouTube. Okay.
If you look up Uncle Pete in the morning, we're good. Uncle Pete in the morning's on the Facebook.
Oh, he is. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
But one thing I do want to say about with Gunther losing, you have Roman Reigns losing. I really wonder if, with this being the Paul Levesque era, is it going to be streak worthy or is it going to be title worthy or match worthy? Because I mean, Gunther and Sammy, I mean, they put on a great match even leading up to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I thought the buildup of Sammy taking those hits and then just coming back up to it. I mean, that's what Sammy's been for a very long time, is that kind of I'm not down kind of person. But I just think that I hope that they kind of don't care about the streaks and they don't care about that because it's
I think
boring.
everybody's tired of the streaks. Go back to battling it out like, once a month or, defend that thing at least 2 times a month or whatever the case may be. And I think that Cody's going to be that guy to work it that way.
And that's where it's like him winning, I think is bad. I mean, it was good for the moment, whatever. That part's okay, but in the long run, the fans are going to turn on him like they always kind of do. They're going to treat him as the new John Cena. And I don't know if he can handle that kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, I think
like Cena was able to for so long.
I mean, but again, Cena also took a while for him to find his way in WWE. I mean, you kind of have that maybe with Cody as Stardust and, all his previous egos. But I mean, the one thing is, I mean, love him or hate him, I mean, he's one of the best faces that they've had in a while. I mean, and heels just love to punch him in the face, and kids love to root for him. I mean, that's what
he's got the look, he's got the kind of that aura,
got the lisp.
Yeah, Yeah, it's a
So,
story.
Yeah.
So the story's over now. So he retires.
Well, the story's over, but now they kind of extended it with this whole on Monday night with The Rock. And what I think is very interesting is the freedom that Paul Levesque's giving these guys on the mic. One, you had Cody come out and drop, on Friday night, he drops the whole, the open mic night comment that his wife made on AEW against Jay Cargill. So it's like you're recapping what they did before, but you're also giving these people a little bit more freedom to say what's truly on their mind. The mic's not as closed off, I think, anymore. Because that's what Triple H was known for with D-Generation X.
Well, from what I've read, only a select few guys can do it. Yeah, so it's like Cody, The Rock, Rollins, man that shall be nameless. They're allowed to do it because they can have some control over it.
Yeah.
They just don't want every guy to go out like how AEW was doing for a while, going saying shit, bullshit, and all those other vulgar terms where it gets overused and it's not as impactful.
Well, I think they're also kind of prepping everybody because Raw is going to be on Netflix here soon.
Right, and that's where they're prepping that.
TKO just announced, I read it, where they're bringing ECW back.
Okay.
So, and it's going to be an TV 17 rating. So they're going to be allowed to swear. So you're kind of prepping that kind of
edginess.
The edginess now. My question is with Roman Reigns being defeated, before we get into our recap, but now with the Wise Man, he's kind of still with the bloodline. You saw it on Friday, but with them now coming back with ECW, does he kind of have more of a less presence on TV trying to push that brand once that goes live? And is that going to kind of change the arc of Roman?
So right now with this whole bloodline thing, what they're doing is was a Jacob Fatu. No, was it Fatu? No, it's Tonga. Tonga debuted on Friday. Fatu will debut soon.
Yeah.
And aligned with Solo and said like they were by orders of the tribal chief. And Paul Heyman's like, what? Like, what tribal chief? Like, I didn't hear anything. And then he goes, call Roman Reigns. They take a cell phone, bust it.
I still don't think it's Roman.
The what's being played out is it's going to be Rock versus Roman. It's going to be a civil war. The Usos are going to go back together, team up with Roman. They go against Rock, Tonga, Solo. Possibly Survivor Series.
I can see that Survivor Series as the next War Games kind of
Which
thing.
would be very interesting for War Games kind of thing.
Yeah, it would be. I'm very hesitant that they really try to push the Usos back together because I think Jay has a single run in him.
I think so too.
I think the fans want it. People every time now I see the single shades like I'm wearing right now. I always think of the Yeet glasses, and everyone wants to say it, and they have that built in. Which, by the way, it's termed for throwing, which doesn't make any sense at all. But I just don't see it. I don't see it being beneficial. I don't see it what's good for business right now. I see it for maybe that match. I could see them doing something Monday night where Solo goes after Jay and Jimmy, helps out, trying to earn that respect. But even in that match, he said, I'm sorry, I'm this, I'm that. And he turned.
Right.
He did the heel turn, and, luckily it wasn't a low blow, but, it's definitely something where you trust it.
What I did find funny in that WrestleMania match was their sponsor was Dude Wipes. Wipes. And their father was Rikishi, who always did the stink face.
Yeah. Sponsorships definitely. It's interesting to see the Prime logo in the middle of the ring. It was interesting to see kind of the whole. They've always had Slim Jim back to Macho Man, even before that a little bit. But to see all these sponsorships now with, they've had Snickers as well, but there's just so many of them, and it's just adding commercial time where it's not needed. And it's like, if you're going to do those sponsorships and those commercials, do picture in picture. Like, I don't want to see it.
That's why I like what AEW does.
Yeah.
And for me too, for me, night one was horrible with sponsorships. They were in your face. Like you don't have the WrestleMania apron. You just have Dude Wipes written across the thing.
Well, at that point,
Night 2 was better with it, but I mean, then you have the commercials and so like the little vignettes they used to do at WrestleMania.
I don't know
Maybe you
why
get a
they
legend.
just don't make the front curtain a hard curtain and put an LED screen in there like the NBA and like all that, and just have advertisements going at this point. Like that's what it's going to seem like it's going to. Is just have that one curtain not be able to be flipped up. It's an actual screen, you know, and just have it where you can run ads that way because that's pretty much what it's becoming.
And that's what it's going to continue to be. I mean, I'm pretty sure soon we'll see wrestlers like how Brock Lesnar was a couple years ago wearing sponsors on their trunks. Yeah. I'm sure LA Knight will probably be the first one with
I mean, I think Seth Rollins is going to be sponsored by Disney, coming out looking like the Alice in Wonderland caterpillar on night 1. That was just I put that out on the chat and they just started laughing about it. So,
oh Lord,
you know, the team that can't pick a match at all.
Yeah. You know, they're not called rejects for no reason.
Yeah, so I just got a message from SG3. Thank Tony Kid for putting us in jail.
Oh, yeah.
And they put themselves in jail too.
Nice. Thanks, Tony the Kid.
So TK, thanks for having us streaming on Uncle Pete in the Mornings feed.
We'll make sure we don't put him in jail.
Never give him that code.
Right.
And yeah, it was like we were saying in the green room, like how night 2, especially the sponsors were giving away the results before the match would even start. Yeah, it's Snoop Dogg with his gin and juice for the Street Fight match.
I mean, that was actually probably to me almost my number 1 match.
Really?
Yeah, I thought the energy was there more for so the Street Profits, like the abilities of what they were able to do. The high flyingness, the kind of him Ford jumping over the turnbuckle completely. Right. I mean, it was an impressive match. I mean, I picked that one incorrectly. My son picked it actually correctly. He likes to rub that one in my face to this day. But
that one was like the buildup for the match was just blah.
Yeah, it was.
And like, for me, I had no interest until Snoop Dogg came out as a commentator, and he was high as a kite.
Yeah,
it was just hysterical.
But the thing is like, I think the WWE needs to take a page out of AEW's book and bring, with all these factions that they have, they need to bring a trios title in there because there's so many factions, starting back with New Day, who we have news on Big E right now, but we'll talk about that later. But you had New Day, you have, you know, Final Testament, you have the Street Profits, or what are they? What's the faction called actually?
Which one?
Bobby Lashley's fight. It's not.
I just forgot.
But it's just, you have so many trios. You have LWO. You have all of these that, like, they're not doing anything. You're not going to have the faction where it's like, oh, we're the tag champs and, oh, well, we're this. And it's like, you're all the same weight class. You're all the same builds. Like, I'm not going to see anything else. So, like, just bring a trios title in there and call it something different and make it to where these factions can actually fight for something. Because that way it's going to be more entertaining, because then the 3-man teams actually mean something.
Because, I mean, right now at the Judgment Day, it looks like they're going to be parting ways or getting new members.
I said something. I saw something kind of happening, and I look right now at Judgment Day as WCW NWO, the actual black and white NWO. Mm-hmm. And what Rey Mysterio has with the LWO, but what I see Dom trying to do is almost build the red and black NWO, where they're gonna kind of compete, but more of a version of the LWO, because like he's kind of been trying to pick with like Andrade and some other people where I could see them making kind of 2 different factions of LWO going at it, because he's definitely done with Judgment Day, because it seems like they're, with Damian Priest now being the El Champion and Rita still retaining, they lost the tag titles. So where does it kind of leave Finn, Damian?
Finn's contract's up soon.
Okay.
So he's got a match tomorrow night on Raw. That may be the last one for him. I mean, I could see them bringing the man that shall be nameless in to be like a new voice for that group.
Especially the way
feud that's going to go on with.
Here's the other thing.
McIntyre.
Is there a new dress code? What's going on? We got all these people in 3-piece suits. The man who shall remain nameless. It looked like he was wearing his little brother's.
Oh, corporate. Yeah, it was like,
you know what I'm saying?
all I can say is just complete sellout and hypocrite. That's
right. I'm like, what is happening here?
Yeah, that was definitely a weird for me. Like, I understand the heated exchange like that they've had on past episodes of Raw and SmackDown and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Between him and Drew, but like that was just a very like, it was out of character for Drew for me to watch that match where he was just like, he didn't seem like he was engaged by the match. He was tweeting in the middle of the match. Like he was trying too hard to be a heel. Mm-hmm. And then like you have the man that shall be nameless sitting at ringside commentating, and he was more like focused on that. And I could have just seen that going in Seth's way. But now to kind of your point, I could see where they kind of bring Damian to be like, well, we're going to get rid of, Mysterio out of the group. And hey, if it wasn't for this man, I wouldn't have had my cash in. I wouldn't have had the mentorship to do it. And then they'd be like, what are you talking about? And then to bring him in like they almost did 3 years ago now when Roman had Paul Heyman in the kind of green room, and he's like, oh, and they look over and Paul Heyman just goes, oh, we'll believe that. Like, I could see a move like that and it would be predictable, but I don't know. I don't think he's good for business. He's hurt again. He's been hurt. And I mean, or is he medically cleared? Because he took the brace off.
He's not cleared yet. They're preventing him from coming back too early to risk further injury because he'll come back and Fragile Phil will break again and be out another 8-9 months.
Yeah, he'll get his wiener hurt.
Well, speaking of Fragile Phil and the Weenus, I'm gonna start calling him the Weenus. I always forget to say his full name on your show, Tom. So I'm gonna make a pivot here. I'm gonna start calling him the Weenus. The Weenus. The Weenus of WWE.
Hey, you're here long enough now. It's your show too.
Okay. But the whole footage got released on AEW.
Right.
How do you feel that went over?
For me, it was a Tony Khan move.
Uh-huh.
It was him being bitter about the man shall be nameless on. Was it Ariel?
His name is the Weenus of WWE. We just established this.
You say the Weenus, I say the man that shall be nameless.
Okay.
So and then so he was like Ariel. I forgot what his last name is. His host went in detail about it.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't fully truthful about it when you watch the video, and where Tony Khan made the statement where he feared for his life kind of thing that day. It was like when you watch the video, it's like you really feared for your life with that. Like, and it was like that. And then the Will Ospreay promo too on AEW, the shots against Hunter, that was all like Tony Khan yelling at WWE for whatever reason. And that's where that hurt WCW. When you go start doing that stuff. So now your biggest draw, your biggest rating was from a video of right now 2 guys not wrestling in your company. Jungle Boy and the man shall be nameless.
Yeah, because Jungle Boy is what? He's with
New Japan. He's still under contract. It's just he's in trouble and they're keeping him away. Then he was in Chicago this weekend for a show. Came out with the Chicago flag and he's the scapegoat for all this. But I see he'll come back, join the EVPs. I mean, for me, for AEW, like that was, you lost so much money and build that you could have had if Tony Khan was the actual leader that they need, that Vince character, that authority, going and say, hey, we're going to make money on this pay-per-view. You guys all got to get together and figure this out. Because Vince, he was able to get Brett and Shawn to work together. Mm-hmm. He was able to get Rock and Triple H to work together. I mean, there's guys that absolutely could not stand each other. He got them to work together, Matt Hardy and Edge, during the whole affair with Lita. It was just, he was able to get them to go, hey, like, either you guys act professional and get this job done and we make a lot of money, or you're out of here.
And that's just where we've talked about this on many episodes now, where it's still a toy for him. And it's just like daddy gave him all this money to play, promoter and this stuff. And I mean, there's a lot of professional. I mean, Boa Ray's come out on his podcast and said it many times. Like, I would do it for free to help them out. Like, I would work and be that for them because he wants to see the industry succeed. And the industry is going to succeed if there's multiple divisions that people can watch, where it's not just WWE it's not just kind of those 3 shows that they're going to put on. But the way he's running the business is he has no business sense for this industry. Right. It's more of just like, these are the matches I would love to see. And it's like, okay, well, there's no buildup, there's no story, there's nothing for me.
And it's like, well, right now, like, what's Tony Khan done with Paige?
Yeah.
They gave her the championship belt at All In, and then he's done nothing with her pretty much since.
You know, I mean, I could see them building something with the CEO, you know, because they have that rivalry from the WWE era. But I just feel like that's what it is. You're going to try to build on the rivalries that you had previous promotions and do nothing with them. Mm-hmm. They're going to fall flat. I mean, they kind of did it with, I mean, I think it was productive, but you saw, well, Edge and Christian go at it, but whatever they're going off of at AEW right now. But it was like, it kind of was different to see them fighting the way they fought, because they fought as a very hardcore driven matches. It wasn't like a ladder match or a chairs match like they're known for. It was like an actual almost Cactus Jack, Johnny Moxley kind of death match kind of style. And it was like, all right, well, Rated R Superstar did some of that stuff in the past, but that never really was Christian's thing. Mm. So it's just like, okay, you're going to change your gimmick in your 50s, 40s? Yeah, whatever you're at. Like, I mean, touche. I mean, you could do it, but it wasn't really a draw for me.
Yeah, it's AEW right now needs to right the ship. I mean, correct. What hurt them, I think, the most is when Regal went back to WWE. He was one of their backstage producers, one of their sort of figures, will help with the storylines. Like during Regal's time there, it was a very watchable product. Or like right now, it's like someone said, like AEW, it's just your main portion of your meal. Like you're getting good wrestling. I mean, you're just getting good wrestling matches. You're not getting the sides that you need to have that complete meal.
Right. And
I mean, yeah, it's like Osprey's great and phenomenal, but you can't have him on for 2 hours.
A couple shots of it.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's like those shots. It's like you really expect that guy to come now to your company or whatever. Yeah. I mean, that's where Osprey took it personal, because he's flying back and forth to Europe every week to go with his family and come back. And he's traveled the world. So it's like, for me, it's like the grind schedule. Yeah, it's WWE is a traveling circus.
Yeah.
They are always going to put on a show no matter where they go. And either you're in it or you're not. Unless you're like a guy like Brock or Roman, where you don't have to do the house shows. I mean, you have to go.
That's why Ric Flair drank 3 packs of beer a day.
All right.
And did some other things out of that drink, but kept him going.
And all the wrestlers pissed in his bed too, in hotel rooms.
Yeah. All right. So, what are you rating WrestleMania? And what are you giving it?
I mean, it was the greatest WrestleMania ever. They said Monday and Friday, but anyway,
I don't know.
They got to go back to one night.
Different WrestleMania.
Maybe
they got to go back to one night.
Yeah,
I would say I would give at least night one, maybe 3 good matches. Because most of those matches they could have done without.
Yeah, what was the match? What was the match of this WrestleMania? Which one stole it? That's a good question, isn't it? Was there one that stole it? Usually there's a good one.
There's one that like really stands out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the one that is going to stand out is going to be Roman versus Cody, just because of everyone that they brought back. And I think I understand the whole who appeared, and I understand everyone, and I don't know if she's watching this right now, but she was very upset with Stone Cold not coming out and the whole back and forth of now he's come out and said, well, I didn't want to leave my family, and well, you didn't want him bad enough or whatever. But it was, I guess the whole thing that I read about it afterwards was why The Undertaker was chosen is because with The Rock calling himself the final boss, The Undertaker was always that judge, jury, executioner of wrestling court. He was always that final guy that you know, before Vince McMahon, supposedly it was The Undertaker. If I had to go above Undertaker, you were in some other trouble. But I got that. But the average fan isn't going to know that. So it's like, oh, the Undertaker was there, and like they're not gonna understand that like someone who's been watching this for years and knows all of that backstage stuff is gonna know that. But it didn't fit because you saw Solo versus Cena, you saw Jimmy versus Jay, you saw Cody versus all of them. So like they all had intermingling of matches.
Yeah.
I feel like there should have been somebody else, but that's the match for me that stands out the most just because it had the most to do. It was definitely the longest match.
Well, is that, and then with the Undertaker too? I mean, yeah, everyone's upset because we all thought like Stone Cold would come out and go berserk, but they couldn't reach a financial agreement for Stone Cold to have
No,
that
he wanted to
spot.
spend time with his family.
So
He didn't want to leave his family. It's got a big price.
You give him some TKO stock, and like you did with The Rock, then he'd show up.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right.
But like for me with the Undertaker, it was like, hey, Stone Cold, we couldn't reach an agreement. Can you go fill in and wear like the camera guy's hoodie because we have nothing for you? Did you bring your stuff?
I don't know if there was one, and I certainly because I am an old school wrestling guy. For Cody to kick out of like everybody's finishing move,
All right.
right? I mean,
Well, that's the issue today. Now it's everyone's doing it.
and then it was a really boring, slow. I was on the feed with the rejects as well.
Was their feed off to you?
Yes,
like when
it
you
was.
okay, like a couple seconds off.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Well, that's why I won't watch their stuff while it's a live show
There's a 3 second
because there's a
delay.
delay between either
Yeah.
we're ahead or they're ahead.
Well, yeah, because it kept like throwing. Because I was trying to talk
Yeah.
my smack to him, and also be supportive of the lovely podcast industry
Yeah.
and wrestling and all that, which I've loved for a long time. But it was like I would say something and he would look over and say it, and luckily he wouldn't notice it right away because like it was delayed enough to where they just saw it.
Right.
And then it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. But like I was saying, it was
Yeah, so
slow.
she is
It was
watching.
horrible. Megan, how are you? Yep. She says it was a super slow match. Yeah, it was terrible. And if it wasn't for all of the legends that
Right.
came back, it would have been a horseshit match.
Yeah.
I mean, they were trying to play like, okay, the Undertaker, his first match was against Dusty Rhodes at Survivor Series.
Yeah.
And then like the reaches they were going for it.
Oh, yeah.
Because he never really feuded with The Rock.
I would rather have seen Undertaker pop in and interfere with AJ Styles and LA Knight because of just Taker's last match was with AJ Styles. So there was at least something there.
Right.
But I mean, to me, to answer your question directly, I mean, the 6-pack tag team match, the ladder match, those are always entertaining for me.
R-Truth stole it.
Oh, R-Truth stole the
Yeah.
show. And like I said to you, I think the question was asked, who's the person I'm looking forward most to it? I mean, R-Truth was that guy.
Yeah.
Well, he's just comedic relief, and you never know what he's going to do. I mean, he pinned a guy.
He's kind of that loaded gun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Having fun.
But he's in his mid to late 50s.
Yeah.
He looks in great shape, great ring shape,
Amazing.
as
Right,
we've
yeah.
said, and he's entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
I did like how they also separated the belts there, where they did,
Right.
you could go after either one, but they kind of told you now who's going to be drafted by what, which is coming up soon.
Right.
So again,
Yeah.
not sponsorship ruined it, but
But I mean, like, and during the week too, during the press conferences, they kept saying there's going to be a new era starting soon. And so it's like, Cody's going to win with the new era. They always do their new eras at WrestleMania 10, WrestleMania 20, WrestleMania 30, and now 40. I mean, that's been their plateau for years of this is when we're going to do the new era.
Maybe the 3-way, with KO and Paul. That one. The reason is I'm just a big KO fan, right? I like the way
he's growing on me.
Yep, I like the way he approaches things, and he's a workhorse, and and if you can give a punch, take a punch,
It was definitely nice to see them in the beginning, like just beat up on Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
I liked when
yeah.
KO got the golf cart to get Randy.
Yeah, throw it in reverse, and Randy's like, I just love when you see Randy's like, slow down.
Whoa.
But that definitely, I said it before the match when my family had our little green room. Is like I could see them making this the kind of the awesome new version of Awesome Truth, or even the Hell Yes tag team, where it's like two guys that are main eventers that are going to become a tag team and kind of be forced, because that's just how they kind of have been is against this Logan Paul. And then when they're like, oh, well, I'm going to pin him. No, I'm going to pin him. Okay, well, now the triple threat's actually going to start.
Yeah. That's what kind of annoyed me, though, is like you knew neither one was going to win the U.S. championship. Neither one needs it for the repertoire. They're just going to build up Logan more in that match. And it's like, for me, like I wouldn't have had Sammy in a match. I wouldn't have had KO in a match. I wouldn't have had Randy in a match. I would have had them like go on Team Roadside. For
That'd
them.
be great. Is after Tyson cripples his brother, he comes back and gets appearances. And...
we can talk about that one in the last 5 minutes of this show, because I got some interesting comments on that one. But my question to you is, you said they're kind of building up Logan Paul. Who is the man you think that's going to dethrone and become the new U.S. champ? Who's your pick for that?
I would say Braun Breaker.
Okay.
Coming up.
Yeah, coming out. I mean, they're having him again, start doing the squash matches again. And I was actually expecting him to be the one to end Gunther's streak. But, and that's where, like, when they did Sammy, I'm like, I mean, I would have done Chad Gable over Sammy.
Yeah.
For everything Chad's been doing. Like, that guy deserves a belt sometime.
I definitely think it'll be Braun Breaker. I think they're going to try to make the U.S. title more prestigious. And I think the Intercontinental title has its history.
Right.
The U.S. title has a history, but it's not as meaningful, I think.
Because it was WCW's belt for so long. And I mean, and I'd actually disagree, where I thought they put more emphasis on the U.S. title than they did the Intercontinental title
for a while.
Years, until Gunther had it. I mean, it was just.
Well, I would say I would go a little bit further.
They went
I would say until the Miz had it.
Well, there's like 5 pay-per-views in a row where that belt wasn't even defended.
Yeah.
And I think Shinsuke had it, and like he wasn't even on TV for 3 months.
No, he was in Japan. He's hiding in Japan in his dojo.
That's it.
But no, I think Braun Breaker, I would love to see them do a kind of a Goldberg streak where he just annihilates everybody, and then
and that's what they're doing with Jade right now.
And then I think that they just have him end that streak with the title of the U.S. title. And I mean, I would love to see him go up against Braun Strowman. I still thought that he would have came out at the Rumble maybe this year, next year coming up, but he's that person that right now I think he looks in phenomenal shape, and everything that I'm seeing about him, he is very involved with the WWE universe still, because he was just at a Shayna Baszler match, which I don't know what she's fighting, but she's fighting like non-WWE events.
No, they did like GCW.
Okay, that's
so like some of them can do. Nick Khan's been allowing the talent to go with some of the independent scenes, especially if they're not getting much TV time.
Yeah, that was an interesting. When I saw that come up, and like I saw him there, and like you just saw that he was just like built, and I was just like, all right, he just looks scary.
So I think what's going to happen there. Have you seen the Bray Wyatt documentary yet?
I have, yes.
All right, so the Bray Wyatt documentary, spoiler alert, to no way if you don't want to hear it. At the very end,
nobody's listening. We've been kicked off of most.
We got 4 listeners. We got 4 viewers, including his wife.
Thanks to Tony the Kid.
And now Nick and Timothy left our group.
Right.
So, but anyways, so like in the end of the documentary, they show the lantern relight up, and then Uncle Howdy comes back. So he'll be back soon. Now they're starting doing the little snippets during the show, the flashes.
Yeah.
You forgot about us. So I think what they're going to be doing there, I mean, Alexa Bliss is due to return again. So
from her pregnancy.
So,
I mean, medical leave.
And so you have her coming back. You'll have Bo Dallas playing Uncle Howdy again. And honestly, I see either Rowan or Strowman being the new Fiend, because they created a new Fiend attire that they're getting ready to debut as the final project right before he passed away, and to keep that legacy going. I mean, I think for the fans' perspective, you'll be fine with either of those two doing it. If you got someone else to do it,
I definitely think you can't have anyone else do it but someone from the family. Right. I see that, but I don't think you could have the Fiend reappear. I think that would be, it's too soon. I think if it's not Bo Dallas doing it, then I think you kill it.
Well, that's why I think. I mean, that's where if you have Bo Dallas still doing the Uncle Howdy, but if you have Rowan or Strowman doing the Monster Fiend now, bigger, better, better than ever, whatever. I think that's okay.
I could see you maybe doing something beyond the Fiend and doing kind of like, because he was the eater of worlds, supposedly. I could see you doing almost to kind of switch gears to Marvel here, but like a Galactus is like the eater of universes, like the eater of everything. Like I could see that being, because both of those characters, both of those wrestlers that you mentioned are bigger than life characters by themselves. I mean, just their size and everything.
Miss Megan says, Alex, shut up.
Yeah, whatever. I've heard enough from her today. But it's just one of those things where I just can't see you doing that. I could see them going like the next step beyond, like the 9 realms, the 9 layers of Dante's Inferno. Like I could see something beyond that being what they come back as. But I just think that if it's not the Fiend, it's not Bray Wyatt doing it or Bo Dallas doing it, then I think you kind of got to let it die on that last one, because they just revealed the statue too. And during WrestleMania week, and have you seen it?
Yeah,
it's creepy.
Right.
I mean, like it's lifelike. It's just creepy to see Bray Wyatt's face just standing there.
What was that for the Hall of Fame?
It was a WWE Universe, whatever thing.
I think it's just one of their statues.
WrestleMania.
They'll probably go to Dubai, or the Saudis will get it and something like that, because they just open up their new.
I'll go back in a warehouse.
Yeah. But yeah, it was definitely like he's got like the lantern and like his face and the wrinkles. It's just really, I've seen some close-up shots of it, and it's just very like,
I mean, yeah, because like his good friend is one to help him create all the character stuff for the Fiend and other costumes. And I mean, yeah, like Bray always had that vision. He was very unique. I mean, some of it was maybe ahead of our time, like that cinematic match he had with Randy Orton with like the projector going on.
Even the one that he had with John Cena.
The Cena one was good.
No, it was good. I'm just saying, like the vision that you had to take a studio kind of production that had, because during COVID, that's when they did that match. It was nobody. And you laid this wacky match out, and then you had the pitch black match, which again is sponsored, but like you just had a very weird match. Like he was definitely a visionary. And the documentary shows that, like how he was working with talent and like, hey, do this and try this. I didn't realize though that Bo Dallas came out first until I watched that documentary. I thought they kind of were in NXT at around the same time, or developmental at the same time. I didn't realize he was doing it a year before Bray got involved. So
yeah, because Dallas had that stint with Curtis Axel, part of the B team.
Yeah, it was a good documentary.
I mean, and that's where it's like when I watch those Peacock documentaries and then watch the A&E, it's like the Peacock ones are so much better.
Yes.
The A&E ones, I mean, they're good, but then you get to that hour and a half point, then all of a sudden the last 30 minutes, 15 minutes, they just do a quick wrap of the last, I don't know how many years.
Well, it's like the Roman Reigns one. Like it was interesting to watch because there's a lot of things that kind of you didn't know like in the very beginning, but then like the last, I would say 45 minutes of it, it was just like, okay, like these were all like known things that have happened.
And that's where right now, like when you look at Roman at WrestleMania, I think he's sick again.
Yeah,
because I know like McAfee said like all the leukemia, he's battling leukemia, but still he's in remission, takes the medicine for it, but like he kind of looked a little sickly.
Yeah, I thought he looked better than he did most.
Yeah, there was. I mean, when he first walked out, like I even said on the Rejects podcast, is like he looks like he's in the best shape.
Yeah.
But it's interesting you say that because he did say in the presser where he's like, yeah, I have to take this leukemia medicine every day.
Right.
Like I have to take my chemo medicine daily. And you know, knowing people that have gone through cancer and stuff like that, I mean, that pill could spike on you in a day.
Right.
And then be fine the next couple times you've taken it.
And that's probably, they won't say the main reason why he's not wrestling that much.
Correct.
And they're being patient, using him wisely. I mean, and every match that they had with him was pretty much a storyline with it. It wasn't just like, oh, we're going to have so-and-so against you this time. There was like no build up. I mean, he actually had build ups with his matches. Wish he would have defended it more, but And now we'll get that with Cody, and people are going to get sick of him because it's too much Cody shoved down their face. He's going to be the new Superman like Rollins was with the world title, kicking out of everything. And
yeah, but it was interesting. There was a stat that they said at the beginning of the match of where he defended it. They said how long of a streak he had, and then they're like, and only defended it 35 times. And all I thought about in my back of my mind was like, oh, that's got to be a podcast moment right there. Because like we've talked about that. Like how many times has he actually defended this title? And I mean, they pretty much laid it out right there for you.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like it was a good reign. I know Vince always wanted to have a guy with a long reign. I mean, he used to say that to Brett all the time. Like, yeah, I want you to be a champion for like 9 years.
Yeah.
And changes his mind and
new
so
shiny
forth.
toy.
And then like he wanted that with The Rock, but then The Rock went to Hollywood. And you know, I mean, Roman was his like last project that he wanted to do that with.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens in the new era, the Paul Levesque era. We'll see what kind of is coming out.
It works with the heels being a champ for a long time. It doesn't work with faces. No. I mean, John Cena and Cody, they're going to be better chasers than actual champions.
Yeah.
Say something, Kent?
I'm just thinking, you know, I think Heyman let the cat out of the bag a little bit too.
Yeah.
Right? I will be a Levesque guy till the very end, or whatever he said, which means I think because Paul's a genius. I mean, he's as much as a lot of people may hate him, he's good in this business. And I think he's getting excited. I think he was tired of the streak too. And my take is that he's like, okay, we're going to get good, and we're going to be, you know, there. It's the short punches, I think, that build a lot of that character and you know, more on-screen personality.
Definitely,
so I kind of like the you know, I think that's the way Paul's going, and Roman, because of that leukemia, probably couldn't go.
Right.
You know, it was probably, hey, how you feeling today? And he's like, I can't go.
Right.
You know,
that's probably like they had the tag team match with The Rock because
yeah.
I mean that helped both of them out, so they don't have to do as much.
Yeah.
And that's why he has the slow matches with Cody and
to be honest with you, because Roman did what he did for how long, that may have just been their way of just saying, hey man, we appreciate you and you know the fight you've had, so you know it's our way of you know getting you that.
Yeah. I mean, I think if he didn't go away, I think you would have got the title on him sooner. But I think
Big old daddy cock.
you know.
Hey, welcome in, Chris. Good to see you, brother. I think it's boring for one person to hold on to the title too long.
I think I may have talked about this before. I think if the title is defended,
unless you're the tag team champion, 2 and 6, right, guys?
We need competition now.
Yeah, you guys do defend them.
But again, if they defend
bring a little fucker and a motherfucker,
hey, those there. I mean, I'll bring them on. But if they defend them, and again, like Seth Rollins, it wasn't his outfits were more of like I got bored of his like entrance. Yeah. Well, once he got fighting, I mean, I was fine with him defending the way he did, but I don't like the whole titles on show. Now it's not on the show for 2 weeks. It's on the show for a week. It's not on the show for a couple weeks. I don't like that. Like, have it presented, make it as prestigious as it is.
Yep. Well, and that's where like when Brock was a champion, like I actually liked that because it made the title actually mean something instead of being a hot potato passed around.
Yeah.
All the time. And it's like, and then you actually have this dominant force where he didn't need to cheat to win either. He just whoop your ass.
And that's the one thing. I mean, and that's where I think, you know, they've kind of dropped the ball because I don't think they have that right now. No, I think they don't have a character that is, you're going to look at him and be like, yep, he's going to win every bar fight that he's in. Like, there's not that guy.
Yeah, I mean, like right now, you know, every match that Cody's going to be in is going to be him getting his butt whooped for half the match and fighting back to win it. Yep. At the very end, where he kicks out of someone's finishing maneuver 3 times and hits the crossroads once and it's over.
Yeah.
And to me, it's this isn't good for TKO.
No. And I mean, even the back and forth between him and The Rock talking about how he pretty much made it. He's like, yes, you are my boss, but I'm your champion. Like, it's like, okay, we get it. Like, now you have the TKO board and all this stuff, but it's just like, all right, I hate to say this, Cody. Like, I'm a Cody fan, but like, let's just shut up and fight. Like, bring on the next guy.
What was it, like 45 minutes they were in the ring Monday?
I know.
Yeah. Well, that was the whole funny thing, was like, he made a point to say something about that on Friday. And that's just when he dropped the whole, this is an open mic night. And then everyone was like, where did I hear that before? And then everyone pulled it up on social media. Oh, his wife said it's a Jade Cargill and this and that. And it's just like, okay, who's the next guy that's going to come up against Cody? Because right now, Jay is going after Drew.
Oh, you're going to have, I mean,
I agree, Megan.
You're probably going to have Randy turn on him.
Okay.
They'll probably do a build up with Randy.
So then do they let Randy? So then if Randy wins it, he is a 21?
No, 16.
No. Okay, so what was 16. So he's a 20-time champion. Okay, so 20 to 21. Okay. Yeah, so he would be a 16-time world champion.
Yeah.
Does he then, because that ties Ric Flair.
Because that ties Rick and
John
Cena, and then they could have a match where Cena's West hurrah him and Randy for a championship to break the record. But even though Ric Flair's record's 19, they just don't acknowledge like 3 of those wins.
Hey, and John, thanks for being here again. But we got to do something about that bald spot.
That bad zoom.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Just shave it.
Shave it. Get rid of it.
Embrace it.
He can't, though. He plays a lot of parts that have hair.
He plays some weird parts.
No, Ricky Stenicki, that was a funny movie.
No, that was a funny one. He's had a couple where like he's more funny in the adult raunchy kind of humor.
Yeah.
But it's just a different character for him. Like, he's not the hustle, respect, loyalty kind of guy when he can actually make a funny joke.
Right. So what did you ever grade WrestleMania? What did you give it?
I mean, for me, I hate the 2 nights. Yeah. I know they're never going to go back to one night because they make way too much money with it. Way too much money.
9,643,010
I mean, like, last year was the year Cody should have won it. For me, that kind of I didn't really care as much this year. Like last year, I probably would have cried with him winning with my dad and stuff, like understanding that storyline. But now it's just like, you guys all screwed this up. You had Roman versus Rock finally. You could have just done that, but no, you're going to listen to your fans and give them what they want, which Vince, to his credit, wouldn't always give them what they want because he knew what was best for business in the long run.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, if you're just going to continue to cater to these idiots and Cody crybabies, you're going to lose your main solid fan base that's been buying tickets, buying pay-per-views, and don't like the corporate.
So what do you score? You're like a politician. I'll answer that question without answering that question.
I mean, for the most part, I wouldn't say there was a really horrible matches like there have been in the past.
Wait, hang on. So let me answer your question. Are we going Illinois public school ratings, or are we going California public school ratings? If you've seen that comment, I mean, it's pretty easy to get a C nowadays. But I'll let Tom answer.
I'll probably go B-.
B-. That's heavy.
I mean,
that was right there.
It wasn't.
I said C-.
It wasn't the best ever. It wasn't one of the worst ones. I mean, I'd watch it over WrestleMania 9 and 2 and 11 any day.
Oh, I mean, if we're gonna put it in out of all 40, I'm putting that in the bottom 15 of all 40. But I mean, for this year or for this last, I would give it a B. Again, like Tom says, I hate the 2-night event. I also hate that there's too many matches sometimes, and also I felt like they added matches at the end of it that they didn't need to add. We've had that conversation.
You didn't need to add Rey Mysterio and Dom's match. You didn't need to add the women's match.
And again, with that Rey Mysterio match, I feel like they didn't add anything on that. Like, I feel like it was just like, if you would have built a story out of it where like Andrade turned and now it's
Carlito turned.
Yeah, or something where you built a story out of it.
Dom gets the win. Now they're 1-1 against each other at WrestleMania. It's just,
but you know,
Yeah,
I give it
Megan.
a B. I could see
Megan's
where
in my camp. I like that. Smart lady.
I don't know if she's that smart. She's with me, so.
I'd marry you too.
Thanks.
But I mean,
appreciate
the other
that.
stuff like they're kind of giving away too is like the upcoming pay-per-views. They have Backlash in France, and you got the King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring in Saudi Arabia in May. So it's like, okay, the championship.
Well, and then what? Sami Zayn. It's your turn now.
Yeah.
He's not gonna win.
I mean, I thought that was interesting the way they did that with like KO, like telling Sammy before he went out, like, "Hey, it's your turn." And then they did the same thing with Sami Zayn to Cameron, and then they're like, "But not your turn." Sorry, guys. But that's where, again, I've said it before.
I mean,
like,
night 2 was better than night 1.
Yes, but like I said before, social media is really killed kayfabe, and it is to me very predictable. And now it's the sponsorships and the corporate feel. It's very predictable. I mean, not even close, over 30 points, and both defending and claiming the titles. So it's very easy sometimes to pick these matches if you pay attention.
Well, it's like the last couple pay-per-views, even though we weren't in the contest, wherever, we were still 4-0, 5-0 in every match and calling what was going to happen. Like I told Kent, like, Damian Priest is going to cash in on Drew because that's part of the storyline. It's just that's what makes sense.
Yeah.
And that Roman was going to spear The Rock. Like I thought The Rock would then do the Rock bomb to Roman, but I mean that's the only thing I missed on that one.
Yeah, like what she's saying right now. I felt like when they showed Sami Zayn's wife and like kid and like all that, like, they went like you don't want to see like the Chad Gable, like you don't want to see your daughter cry.
But they did that to him in Montreal.
Correct. And no, Megan, I don't remember the exact score that Hayden scored. I have to find the notebook with the paper in there, but I want to say he scored for both nights. It was like 64 or 74 points on his own.
Nice. Well, we'll bring it. I'll bring him next time.
New challengers, they're done. Like, are they going to break up again or like create another new tag team?
It seems like every time you guys whip their ass, they get us kicked off of platforms.
Yes, kicked off platforms.
Or they mess with your computer and we can't get on the next time. Like,
they put us in Facebook jail before.
So not a bad week though, except this week in wrestling. But here's my thing, I guess, that I still am trying to wrap my head around. Part of me says, man, I really want to get behind Cody, right? Because I look at him, dude tore his pectoral muscle. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's done some shit. Mm-hmm. But then he walks out in these suits, and I'm like, what? I can't figure out what his shtick is.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we knew The Undertaker. We knew Kane. You know what I'm saying? You knew.
You're still using your AEW where you're the VP of the company, but you're not that anymore.
Right. I don't. Right. So I it's much like old boys outfits.
Seth Rollins.
Yeah, Seth Rollins. Thanks. I was thinking Quad City guys. Right? That's what I was gonna say. So I'm like, I don't. Are we Liberace wrestling? Are we?
Well, I think like if you had.
I don't know.
We're sponsored now by Men's Warehouse. So
if you had Cody that wrestled Seth's style, and then.
Right. I can't. I can't figure out. Right. So I can't get behind a champion. I can't figure out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think though, like again, in the late 80s, early 90s, you had all of the gimmick wrestlers. You had the plumber. You had your dentist. You had
all these characters right here.
Yeah. All the cartoon characters. Now you kind of have a different era with the whole dress code and everything, like you were saying. But for me with Cody, it would be nice to see kind of him to do a Finn Balor kind of role where like he has something inside of him, and that was the nightmare. Now I could see you could kind of do something that way, but like where like he needs to get to that point where he's like you're saying, getting all these finishing moves, and he turns that corner. Well, then something snaps and he goes back to the quote Bullet Club era where he was the black-haired Cody and he was the wrestler with the leather jacket with the American flag on the back, and he has that alter ego. that I could see would be interesting, and
That
that
would
would be
be
the
interesting,
nightmare side of him.
Right.
But until you release that or show any signs of that, and I thought you had a perfect lead into that with the whole Shinsuke era or the Shinsuke angle, where you could have had him doing something different, where like Shinsuke broke that inside. Or now with all of the Bullet Club members that are on the WWE roster, you know, do you try to form a faction with them?
And that's where it's like annoys me is they have that there on a silver platter for them and they refuse to do it.
Yeah.
You have Gallows and Anderson that have been sitting at catering for how many months since they re-signed with the company.
Well, that I'm curious to see with the whole, with him coming from Fridays, because they were one of the original 5 members.
Right.
You know, 3 of them were one of the original 5. And then you had Finn Balor come in and he was that. Like, I could see him re-signing and him taking that over. But now you have him. Finn was a leader. AJ Styles was a leader. Cody was a leader. Kenny Omega's with AEW, but you know, Jay White, yeah. So you have all these wrestlers that were, you know, these leaders that could now have that battle right there, where it was like, who's the true?
And that's a lot of times where it's like, because WWE didn't think of it, they don't want to promote it.
Yeah,
kind of thing. Unless you were just way too big, like how Ric Flair was. He was just way too big of a name, and they knew that's the only shtick that's going to work.
Well, how many members right now currently are with New Japan? I mean, is the Bullet Club still? I know it's a faction still there, but is it actually like an active group?
I'm not really sure.
I'm curious on that.
But I mean, that's where like AEW was kind of hinting with, like, you know, they have Bullet Club Gold or whatever, but they're turning into the big show where they can't make up their minds if they're a good guy or bad guy this week or next week or even in that show. And I mean, some of them are saying that it's going to be like it's WCW 2000, and I see points of that, but I mean, they're not as bad. They have a better financial backing, but without that stern leadership and veteran presence, I don't know if Jericho needs to take a step back and like go more in the production side, be a producer more. Because like he's getting shoved down our throats way too much and fans are turning on him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's a genius too, right? And as creative as he is, it'd probably be good for him to do that.
All right.
You know, get behind the scenes and create. I'm still waiting for, you know, maybe that's what Rock's doing now. You know, we had talked about it, you know, 6-8 months ago, you know, about some of these legends, you know, running a stable. You know, is it time for that? You know, just,
I mean, because when you
look at doing that,
when you look at it, it's like the only time they get popped now is because they can't create new stars is when a legend comes out with them. And I don't know if that's just because of like the way how we grew up, where you had X amount of channels and X amount of access, because now it's unlimited, where you get whatever you want instantly.
I should talk with, you know, the thing to do, you know what I'm going to have to do is talk with Spencer. He's going to be 30, right? So he grew up with me watching it. He watched it with me, and now he's into it. So I should talk with him and see where his mindset is. Because we're all old school, let's be honest, right? And that's why when, you know, when you hear that gong, you know, that death bell, you're like, ooh, what?
And the other issue too is most of their legends are dead. The ones that you would really want to see or whatever.
Yeah, Megan's comment right there. I mean, I definitely think that was an interesting protection that he came out in the Shield outfit, Seth Rollins, because after that match with The Rock and the lead up to it, he was definitely held together by duct tape and kinetic tape, because he looked really bad. And to see him come out in the Shield, I mean, I honestly thought when I heard the Shield intro come on, I thought Jon Moxley. I thought Dean Ambrose. I was like, if they pulled this off, that would be a pop. That would have been the Hardy Boys from years in the past. That would have been that pop.
Oh, and that's where right now, seeing how Triple H is writing stuff, he likes doing Easter eggs. Whether something the guy says or something in the background. And I mean, Rollins flat out said he was going to be Cody's Shield. Roman still has a vendetta against Seth for turning on him with the Shield.
Oh,
with
and they
his
played
chair
that
shot.
out perfectly.
And they showed, he dressed up as a Shield and took the chair shot from Roman to distract Roman from Cody, and there you go. And for me, like with Seth Rollins, it's like I like him as like his wrestling skill is great.
Mhm.
I mean, if they could do the real Seth Rollins and not this Liberace stuff that he's been doing or whatever.
Guy who wears a blue sparkly jacket.
Hey, now it's like Bobby the Brain Heenan here. But it's like if you get the real Seth Rollins, I think you would have more fan support behind him. It would be more likable.
Well, what I would love to see right now is, does Seth Rollins resign? First off, so if they get him to resign, what I would love to see WWE do is to do a little vignette where nobody talks to Seth.
Mhm.
Nobody reaches out to him. Nobody comes to his aid and like, how you doing with this rehab?
Right.
How you doing with this? And he gets into his feelings and he gets a very dark role.
Mhm.
And then I could see him being like, you know what? Ditch the gimmick, ditch the outfits, kind of show him as a quote quasi bad father with Becky so that you don't have that whole thing. But but then you have him come out and I'm getting back to the basics, kind of like a Rocky kind of intro where he, does, he's going to train this way. I'm training this way. I'm in the lumberjack mode. And then he comes back and he's old school Seth where you now can burn it down, taking his words and then coming back and going after the gold. Now, if they both do resign, I see him and Becky winning back their heavy, or him winning his title back and Becky winning against Rita, both at SummerSlam.
So I think that they may actually be out longer.
Okay.
Because I think their contracts are up in May.
Right.
For both of them. I think they're going to take some time, at least the whole summer, to kind of recoup or whatever. And I think if Seth is smart, the longer he waits to come back, the better it will be for him.
Yep.
So whether it may be Royal Rumble or next year night after WrestleMania, because a lot of times you need to have the fans miss you.
Yeah.
You need to let them know like what they're missing. So like with the Miz right now, he's been there for how long? 17 years or whatever.
Yeah.
He's never really missed a day. You don't care.
Yeah.
You took him for granted.
Yeah.
But it's, as soon as that guy is gone, like when Cena has been gone now, is when he comes back, it's like, oh, I kind of missed that. And that's what Seth needs to do. And then get that power play of like, hey, I need to go somewhere else to go get a title shot now. I'd be the number one guy because you guys took me for granted.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's where AEW, as soon as Seth and Becky are free agents, is make them that offer, at least where they're there for a year or two.
Yeah. But see, that's where I could see Seth going back to Ring of Honor and kind of going again, burning it down, going back to the studs and just, hey, I'm refining myself. I'm staying out of my wife's wardrobe. And I'm gonna get back to wrestling, and I could definitely see that being where, again, he's out of WWE. He's at Ring of Honor, which is technically owned by AEW.
Right.
He's on the independent scene. And I hate to say this, kind of taking a page out of Cody Rhodes' book where he went elsewhere, became a champion. But the only difference is Cody left kind of as a mid-card person. I don't want to say Seth's a mid-card wrestler right now because he's not. But like you're saying, he is somebody where when you see him, you're in the main event guy. You're with the title around your waist. You're not earning your stripe per se. I think if he would leave and go somewhere else, I think it would be more of a pop if he came back.
But I think, it'd be more beneficial for the wrestling business as a whole. It'd be more beneficial to him, his family, Becky, and the fans. You gotta be missed. And if you're not missed, no one cares. Like
nobody cares.
If you're there every week, no one cares.
Yep.
Here's what we care about. Time's up.
It's
It's hot as anything in this studio today.
I thought it was just us, Kent.
Man, I'll tell you what, another great episode of Let Me Tell You Something, Brother. Second and fourth Sunday?
Every other Sunday.
Every other Sunday?
Yeah.
We'll just go every other.
Every other.
Unless there's a holiday in there.
Something weird.
But again,
or someone gets sick.
You're
or someone's
looking,
sick, you
folks,
can't talk.
at the tag team champion, still undisputed. undefeated as a team.
Longest reigning, defending 216 champs.
216 tag team champs.
I think I might
there.
change this to a necklace.
We'll take open challengers. If fans want to go compete against us, we'll whoop your ass too.
That's it. Bring it down. All right, Brotha's here, 216 Creator Studios. Thanks for hopping on with Let Me Tell You Something, brother. Stay tuned for more good stuff.